Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We have been working on this Bally Lost World pinball machine that's pretty rough, and on the last video we actually got it up and running. It's running right now if you look at all of the lights blinking. We worked through all of the game boards, but we don't have any displays. So on this video we're going to try to fix some old displays. I've got a ton of them in storage, and they're in various states of disrepair. So we're going to dig through, see if we can find some that we can repair, and kind of go over what goes wrong with them and things you can do to fix them. So we figured we'd film it while we're getting them ready. So we're going to need 5 6-digit Bally or Stern displays. So let's go in the back and see what kind of parts we've got. So here is some of our hoard. This is like a lot of displays that we've had for years and years and years. We bought a bunch of them from a guy one time and had them shipped, and a ton of them broke, but we got them so cheap that it didn't really matter. But we've got all of these, and then we've got all of these over here that have bad glass. Every one of those has bad glass. So it's either the glass is cracked or burnt or something or the other. So all of these are not usable, but they have parts on them. So we might, and some of them are just stuff like this where the glass has been ripped off of it. So lots of junk. So none of these are going to work. Some of these may though. So what we've been doing is we've been going through, and whenever we get a game that needs displays, we've been going through and finding displays that pretty much work, fixing them up a little bit and putting them in the machine. But now we're down to displays that are broke, so we actually have to fix some, right? So here's a good example. This one is marked and says wrong digits on it, but the glass on the front looks pretty good, looks very usable, but it says wrong digits, so it's probably putting the wrong digits up. So we're going to slide that in. We'll do that one first. We'll slide it in and confirm that that's what it's doing, and then we'll fix it. So we turned off the game. You always want to unplug and plug in displays with the game off, because that will fry the decoder chip on the display, which may be exactly why this one's screwed up. It may have been somebody unplugged it while the power was on or something. But what it's doing is that we're in the display test, and it should be going 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0 1 2. So it's got all of the digits screwed up, like it's not doing the right ones. That almost certainly is probably that decoder chip on the display. So let's go look at that. All right, so we'll go over a couple little things on it. These are the schematics for the Bally displays. They're all pretty much the same. So there is a connector right here, and so you get a ground coming in on the connector. You get a ground and you get a 5 volt. You can test both of those on the board, and you see you need that voltage. The only thing it does is run this one chip. So there's this one chip, which is a BCD to 7 segment blinking chip, MC14543LE, right? So you get a ground and a 5. You get 1 2 3 4. You get 5 connections to the chip. One's a blinking signal, so it's a BCD to 7 segment. The blinking signal is one of the connections. Blinking signal, and you get DO, D1, D2, and D3. And then down here you get the display latch strobe, and then the key is the spot that isn't connected. 11 and 12 are not connected, and I'm wondering if that's the only. I don't think that's the only connections, is it? You can look on the bottom. So here's the ones that connect to the oh yeah, there's like a digit enable on everything. Let's see here. How do they do that? Oh, it's at the top here. Okay, so there's 1 2 3 4 5 6, the 6-digit connections, and then a high voltage. So the high voltage is 190 volts. So basically, the game board turns on each digit, and it has a strobe, I guess, that refreshes it or whatever. But anyway, all of the information about like what it should display, what number it should display, blah 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 blah, is handled by this one chip. So if you get any kind of weird display where it's not, it's showing the wrong score or something like that, it's almost always this chip. If there's a segment missing, a lot of times it's this chip, or it's one of the transistors on it. But with the problem we were just seeing, where you just got scores missing, but they're there other times and all that, it's almost always going to be this chip. There's nothing else that it really can be. So that chip is about $5, something like that. It's a little expensive. I think it's obsolete. They don't make them anymore. So this is the one that was in it, and it's pretty rough. Look at the rust and everything on it. Look at that. Yeah, look, we got some focus now. You can see it. Look at that. Horrible. So I needed another one, so I could pay $5 for a brand new one. Or where could I find a bunch of used ones? Right? So I just stole one off of another board, put a socket in. I always put a socket in because now I'm home free now. You know, I got the socket in there. I can pop that one in and out easily. So if this chip is bad too, I can put another one in, another one in, another one in. And if I find one that works off of a parts board, it saves me $5. Right, so let's pop it back in. We'll see if that fixed it. Okay, so that seems to have fixed it. I don't know if on the video, if you're in real life, it's just blinking solid, but you might be catching it a little different on the video because of the shutter speed. But that fixed that one. Okay, so another one that we have, our next one that we're going to mess with. This one also looks pretty good, but on the back I have written, it messes up the other displays. So we're going to see if that still holds true. So I'm going to pop it in one of them, and then we'll turn it off, pop it in one of them, and I'll turn it back on, and we'll see if it actually makes that display screw up. Okay, so I put it in the second player, and I don't see it messing anything up. So it could be a situation where it messes up a display if it's in a certain spot or something, or it could be that I had a board that was messed up or a connection that was messed up, and I thought it was the display. So it looks like maybe we've got two good ones now. But that one's still suspect, so we'll watch it. So let's go grab a different one. So this is yet another one that I have written messes up other displays on. So we'll see if we'll add that one to our 2 and see if it messes anything up. Well, this isn't as fun for you, but it's pretty fun for me. I'm finding fully working displays apparently, but okay, I found another one in my goodie box that I was able to just resolder the connection on, and it's looking good. So we got 5 good displays. You know what that means. On to the next thing. We got a bunch of bad displays. So next up, we've got all the displays doing their thing. I need to try to get some more light bulbs working. So pretty much every bulb in the back box is burnt out. So I'm going to take all those, throw them in the trash, and put new ones in there and see what that looks like. So put all new bulbs in it. No LEDs here, people. We're original bulb type of people here. Of course, we haven't done anything to the playfield yet, but I did do the bottom of the playfield. So I lifted it up, swapped all the bulbs, and I cleaned all of the switches under the playfield. So the top of the playfield, of course, is completely destroyed and needs to be completely redone. That's coming up. But we did all of the power. We got the MPU board working. We did the lamps. We've got all of the lights replaced except for the general illumination ones under these shields, which we'll do whenever we do the top of the playfield. And the pop bumpers we have to take apart because of those skirts being all destroyed, right? But there's nothing keeping this thing from playing, so let's see if she'll coin up. All right. Huh? What? What? finger in there and get bit. You don't want to get bit, people. Let's see if it'll score anything. Of course, we're sitting flat on a cart. Let's see if she's doing anything yet. We've probably got a fuse blown on the playfield. Yep. So none of the coils are working on the playfield. The slingshots aren't working. The pop bumpers aren't working. But all the switches are working. So basically, it counted down, so it knew that the ball was in there because the switches sensed it, but the coil didn't kick out. So we've probably got a fuse on the bottom of the playfield blown. But basically the thing is up. So I'll check that fuse real quick, and then we're pretty much at the point where we're going to tear the playfield apart and start working on it. So in the other video, you know, I put new connectors on that power supply, and I knew the solenoid voltage must be working because the board won't boot without it. The board kept booting. So on the power supply, the transformer assembly, here's the solenoid voltage, and so it comes down here, and it was going to the cabinet, and it was going to some of this stuff, which is what goes over to the game board, right? But it wasn't going to the playfield because I had a bad solder joint on one of my little connectors that I replaced. So let's try this again. Well, let me plug it in first, that way it'll boot up. We'll let it boot up here. And look, it saved my 1 extra credit that we had on it from a minute ago. That's better. Pop bumpers are working, kind of. Kickers are working, but they've got old rubbers on them, so. All right, so let's see if the saucer works. Alright, so the game's playing, but I don't want to hit it with the flippers. No rubbers on it, it would crack it. And if the playfield's old and filthy like this, you don't want to play it much anyways, because you're basically, the ball is going to grind. See all this dirt? That's probably all pieces of the rubber rings. And it's going to grind that crap into the paint and make it even worse. It's already bad enough, you know? So I just wanted to check it. So I think we've got the game up and playing. Of course, we still need to clean the cabinet. We need to put legs on it, but we're ready to start working on the playfield now. So I should have knew it was going to do that. So I'll put it back, all back up, and start unscrewing everything from the playfield, and we'll lay it over here on this pinball machine next to it. And I'll just kind of lay it in kind of the spot that I took it off the machine to help me remember where everything goes back. So we pulled most of the stuff off of it. I'm going to take this apron off too, but we pulled most of the stuff off of it, and this is what we're starting with. It's completely filthy. We just laid everything over here. So the main issue with this playfield is that somebody at some point took a big sheet of Mylar and whoop, about fell down, and put Mylar even over top of the other Mylar, the slingshot Mylar. Appears to be under it. Yeah, so they put Mylar over this entire bottom half of the playfield. So there's two ways you can remove Mylar. You can freeze it off, or you can heat it off. So I've tried both. And the problem I always run into on these old playfields, which is pretty much all I do, whenever you peel the Mylar off, it starts peeling the paint off too. If you freeze it, it does it. If you heat it up, it does it. So it sucks that this Mylar is on here, and I would love to take it off, but if I do, I'm going to take off 20-30% of this paint, and then I'll never get it looking right again. So we can either leave it how it is, where it's imperfect, or we can pull it all off where it half destroys the playfield, paint it all back, and then make it imperfect again. So it's a lot of work where I don't think it would benefit as much. Now, if you've got a newer machine, maybe one from the late 80s, from the 90s, yeah, it's pulling a Mylar off works great. But these old ones like this that are in this rough a shape, it just, you can't do it. There's no good way to do it. I have yet to see somebody take a machine that's this bad and remove Mylar from it. If you got little tiny pieces, maybe, but look at all this I would have to redo if I pulled this off and it screwed it all up. I've tried it on about 8 machines, right? I have never been able to pull it off. So maybe it can be done, but I can't do it, so I won't be able to do that on this video. So we're gonna have to leave that freaking Mylar. So to make up for the Mylar, we're gonna have to get the rest of it looking nice and clean and get everything looking great, and then the rough spot will be basically where the Mylar is, which is the worst spot. But what can you do, people? I think it's gonna be all right though. This will not be a collector quality machine, but really none of ours are. It'll be a good player's condition machine. Somebody will love it. They'll give it a good home and they'll play the crap out of it. And that's kind of what we would prefer anyway. So the first thing I need to do is just clean the crap out of this thing, because it looks horrible, but some of it's just dirt that'll come off. So like all this right here looks god awful, but most of that'll clean up. It's just dirt. Alright, so I did the preliminary cleaning just to get all the loose dirt off of it. It really made it look a little bit better. We're starting to get the filth to disappear. We're going to replace all that, don't worry about that. So you can see they mylar'd over some touch-up paint that they put on the green with blue. They painted green blue, people. There's also a little piece of mylar up here at the top. It's not quite as bad, but we'll see what we can do with it. We'll see how good we can make it look even with the mylar. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get some magic erasers, and I'm going to magically erase the dirt on the playfield. So you can see we've got a couple problem areas. Like that's going to get worse once we hit it with the magic eraser, so I have to touch it up, but that's fine because I have to touch this side up anyway. But hopefully we can get rid of some of that. If the mylar wasn't here, I could lighten that, but got just general filth there that'll come up. All of this will clean up around the thing, so you're going to have a ton of the bad around that saucer there. This one's not quite as bad. And the mylar here is actually factory, so that's how it's supposed to be. And you can see that originally it was actually, the playfield was actually purple, which matched the rails on the side, but it is worn to like a burgundy, like a brandy wine type of color. Let's go with that. That's brandy wine, people. All of this up here looks pretty good. There's a little bit of wear there, but it's under mylar, so we won't be messing with that. A little bit of wear there we might be able to touch up. A little bit of planking here. I might be able to smear some color back in there whenever I mix it for this area down here. So it's pretty rough, but I think it's going to come out pretty nice actually. Once you get all the plastic shields and everything back on, you get the lights nice and bright. You wax it so all of it reflects the light bulbs and everything. You get a nice backglass on it. You get the cabinet looking good. It's probably going to be pretty nice. But we're in the low spot now, so I'm going to hit it with the magic eraser, which is going to be the worst part, because after I do that, more of this paint's going to be missing and it's going to be pretty rough. But it'll be clean, or as clean as it'll get. So I'll get the magic erasers and go to town. Okay, so I cleaned the slingshots down. This one actually, the nyliner's, I don't know, that's not called a nyliner. It's a nylon kicker. I don't know what it's called, but this little thing is broke on it, so I need to replace it. This is a new old stock one, so I need to replace that, but I can't get the little roll pin out, so I'm going to have to pull the whole assembly out so I can go somewhere and beat on it. Looks like they may have already replaced this one because the pin is about half out. But so we got to mess with that. But the looks like the flippers actually cleaned up a little bit. We got all of the dirt track off of here that you saw earlier that was so horrible. We cleaned this up so that we can see a little better what is actually missing there, so that the more purple paint will go a long way. Same thing there. So it cleaned up pretty good. Not bad, except for the mylar spot, but all of this over here cleaned up good. This cleaned up under the shield's good. Look how they did the mylar. It kind of goes halvesies across. I'm gonna stop talking about it, people. I'm gonna stop talking about it. I'm just gonna live with it. So we've cleaned up to here, and so we'll go up some more and see what we can get done. The middle all looks pretty good. I've got to clean around those saucers, see how clean I can get that, and then we'll see after we get it all done, we'll see about painting some of that back in. So we scrub, and got it pretty clean. I'm pleasantly surprised. I think it's in better shape than I thought it was. The top up here is pretty good. You've got a little bit of pock marks here where little pieces of purple came off. I may be able to do something about that. You got that little bit of planking still there. And then this is the absolute worst part right there. But most of that's purple too. So a lot of that we'll be able to touch up and get rid of. So you can see how bad it is. Basically we need to draw the dragon's head back in a little bit. Then put some purple on it. That's going to be the worst spot. So that will be the test. But we're pretty much ready for some paint. So I'll go get some paint. I'll go get an ink pen. We're going to try to ink in the black first so that we can tell where we need to paint by numbers. So I have got this cranberry wine paint. Whenever you got something that's close like this and it's like different colors on the Playfield because it's faded different in different areas, usually you can make something like this work. So you can see what you think about that. I can't see the viewfinder too good from here, but that's what we got going on there. And then this is still a work in progress. I got to get my black lines better, but I inked in the, you know, the missing part of the dragon snout. But tried to make a couple circles around that, and then did the purple down to about here and kind of blended it in. Looks pretty good in my opinion. And then another thing I did was, you can tell it pretty good right there. See where that was all white before? You can take, if it's the wrong color, or if you just got lines somewhere, you can take a little bit of it and paint it on it and then immediately wipe it off. And what it'll do is it'll take it all off of everything except the part that was white. And you can do that over and over and over again, and it'll kind of build it up a little bit. And they call it like the smear technique. It's another thing that Clay does on pinrepair.com. But looking pretty good. We won't get it perfect. I did a bunch of it in through here. I got a lot of it. But I think we're really getting there. I've got to repaint the yellow circle on both of these. So I'm going to do that next. But I think my purple, or my cranberry sauce is looking pretty good. So let me get going on the yellow and see if we can get the two saucers looking pretty good. And we'll be about there. Okay folks, so this is the player view. You know, as long as it looks good from the player view, you're good. So, it's not perfect, but a lot better than it was, right? So I think that's very passable, and I really like how this turned out. Blended that right in. That's some fine blending right in work. Up there, I'm not too worried about. There's still there's a couple little spots on his tail and stuff, but you're not going to see that. We can't make it a Cadillac, people. It was meant to be a, what's worse than a Cadillac?
Lincoln.
Well, Lincoln's all right.
Honda.
Hondas are dependable. It ain't gonna be a Cadillac, people, but it's more of like a
Buick.
It's a Skylark. It's not a Caddy, it's a Skylark. All right, so I think that's all the touch up that we need to do, because I think it's going to look pretty sweet whenever we get the stuff back on it. And again, even if I make everything look perfect, none of this looks perfect. So what am I doing? You got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. All right, so next we need to wax. Oh, I need to clear coat it a little bit, so I'm going to just spot clear coat it. So what I'm going to do is kind of mask off the Mylar part and just clear like the little bit of areas that I touched up, you know, and then wax the crap out of it. So when you next see it, it will be nice and shiny. So I clear coated it, and then I've waxed, and got it nice and shiny. You can see the lights reflecting off of the back box on the Mylar there, and then you can see they're also reflecting on the actual painted wood up there pretty good. So it all kind of blends in together pretty good. Everything cleaned up. All in all, it looks pretty good. Got new bulbs in it, of course. We got to do the 3 pop bumpers next. So, I fixed the little kicker. This one's still good. So I guess I'm gonna cut the pop bumpers out and we'll put new in. So I took everything off the bottom underneath the pop bumpers. So basically you have to unsolder these 2 wire leads that go to the light socket. And then I took the 2 screws loose in the top, and you can pop the whole assembly off. So basically the reason that you have to do that is because this skirt is all chewed up and looks like crap. So I'm going to replace all 3 of those. And I think for all of you modders out there, I think I'm going to go with red. The white looks a little plain, so I'm going to put red ones on it if I've got red ones. I probably should have checked before I said that. If I have red ones, I'm going to put red ones on it. You get new ones on there, and that'll make up for me not putting LEDs anywhere. And I also, they had the power cord. You gotta always look for stuff like this, folks. So this is the original power cord that was soldered to the line filter there. And at some point they had decided to replace the cord, so they cut it 7 inches in from the cabinet and had soldered a new cord to the old one, which is pretty cool that they soldered it, but then they just wrapped it with tape, and I don't like doing that if I can help it. One of the pieces of tape had already fallen off, so I cut it and soldered it to the line filter where it ought to be, so now it's one continuous cord. Much better. So I'll see if I got any red skirts. I'll put new red skirts on it, get all that back together, and then we'll look at the bottom when I put it back together. Alright, so we got the top things on, and these are the little legs from the light bulb socket. So they all have little spots that they touch and are soldered to get their power. So you have to go back and solder those 6. And then you can mount this back on, which attaches to the pop bumper ring, which is what actually pulls it in and makes it pop. So I've got to resolder those 6 back, and then mount everything back, and then we'll look back on the top and see how beautiful it turned out. Okay, folks, we're getting there. We got the pop bumpers soldered back in, and we got new flipper plungers installed and new sleeves. You have to do that because the old ones get all loose as a goose. Look at the play in it. So whenever you hit the button, it does that before it moves the flipper. Screws you all up. And then these little nylon sleeves cause all kinds of problems. So put a brand new one in if you can. And you can, because they're only like 20 cents or something like that. I think they're 50 cents. So we did that. We cleaned all the switches. We cleaned the flipper switches, which were in pretty good shape, but we cleaned them anyway. And so let's look at the top. Let's check out all the plastics and the rubber rings. So this is what our Playfield ended up looking like so far. Now that all the plastics are back on, it looks great. We have to order new plastics for the pop bumper caps because these ones are just pretty nasty. You can't hear them. See how burnt they are? So we're going to get new ones so they look nice and bright. So we'll order that new. We got to check out our spinner. Oh, whoop. Whew, boy, that's cool. This is a really fun game. So anyway, I have to do instruction cards for it. I actually have to order pinballs because we ran out of pinballs. There's a captive one that goes right there that we have to put back in. Don't ever use the old pinballs, people. If you look at them real close, you'll see they got little spots of rust on them, and they just eat up a damn Playfield. Don't do it. Get new ones. You don't have to get the shiny $5 ones or anything like that. Just get a new pinball. Oh, and you may have not noticed, but on the coin door, this coin door we actually pulled off of, I think it was a Star Trek that we were working on months ago. And we swapped it because we needed a nice coin door for the Star Trek. And the reason that we swapped it, if you rewind back in the video, it's because somebody had pried open this hole down here trying to get quarters out of it. So this was all bent out and looked all screwed up. And we're going to swap the coin door. So I took everything off the back of it and I laid it flat on a piece of steel, and I beat the hell out of it with a hammer, and it it smashed it back flat. So I put it on that side and beat this side, and put it on this side and beat that side. You can buy a new skin for that, but hey, if it's an opportunity to beat something up with a hammer, why not, right? So I beat it back straight with a hammer, so that turned out pretty good. All right, so things that we have to do left, okay? I have to get pinballs. I have to get pop bumper caps. We have to clean the cabinet. It's in bad, filthy shape, but good. I mean, it'll look great once we clean it. We're going to paint this frame around where the back glass goes black. You could repaint it the original. You have to paint it because it looks like crap. You could try to match that yellow. It's hard to match yellow, people. So we're just going to paint it black, which makes them look really cool, and it makes it look like the back glass is framed. So we like doing that. So I need to do that. I need to paint some legs and put on it, and then some other little minor things, and then I'll come back and show you how it turned out, and we'll play it a little bit. All right, so we finished it up. It's looking pretty good. Plays pretty good too. I'll play it here just for a second here in a minute. Got the coin door looking pretty good. Put a little logo back on it. These actually, the Lost World was the first solid state from Bally, and I don't think they actually had the logo yet. I think the first 4 games or so, if you look at the flyers, don't have the sticker on it. But I wasn't around back then, so I don't know that for sure. Painted the rim on it. Put the back glass back in. The back glass had a little bit of flaking, but we hit it with the triple thick and it all went back together pretty nice. We didn't do any touch-up paint. We got our pop bumper caps on. Of course, got the glass on. All in all, looks pretty good. Painted some legs, got them on. New leg bolts. Put our little instruction cards in. That's another thing. This is blue, but it originally was actually purple. It's just evenly faded. But with everything back on it, I think it looks pretty good, folks. Really came out pretty nice, in my opinion. Considering where we started, pretty nice. So I'll set up the tripod, turn the lights out. We'll play it just a little bit, but I've already done a video of A Lost World where we went all through it, checked everything out. The weirdest part of A Lost World is over here. There is a woman standing here with her arms up, holding a child that a snake is eating. It's very weird, people. I hope that ain't what it looks like. Somebody ask Paul Ferris what the hell that means. Oh. Oh. Oh no. All right, folks, so there you go. Turned out pretty good, plays pretty good. Saved another one. Hope you enjoyed the videos. If you want to see us playing it longer, go check out our channel. We filmed a whole bunch of footage of us playing our last Lost World. We've had several. It's one of our favorites of the early Bally solid states. So leave your comments below. Give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. And make sure to subscribe to us. Do you know that only 15% of the people that watch our videos are actually subscribed to us? Can you believe that? What are you people doing out there? Those are rookie numbers, people. We need to get our subscriber rate way up. Tell your friends. Tell your family. So leave your comments below. Make sure to subscribe to us. You can also check out all of the games that we always have available for sale on our website. Go to lionsarcade.com, where this one is up because it's now for sale. Or you can stop by and see us. We're in downtown Rock Hill, South Carolina. We've got a building full of arcade games and stuff that we're always working on whenever we film these videos. So if you can't come by and you don't want to buy one, just subscribe to us. And it'll let you know every time we put up a video of one of these old games that we're working on, which is a couple times a week. So leave your comments below, give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next video.